Hey, this is Cliff Gehring, and welcome to a new episode of Cliff Notes, the best in nutrition, wellness, sports, pop culture, and so much more. Thanks for joining us, and Happy New Year! Happy 2026, everybody. I hope it's been great so far. And we're going to talk today about a Happy New Year. Well, it may depend on the movies you watch. What do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you in just a second. But first, to understand what I really mean, we're going to talk briefly about the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. And what is RAS? Well, I'm going to tell you. Briefly, in simplistic terms, the RAS is a bundle of nerves located at your brainstem, which filters out unnecessary information and only lets the important stuff in. So it's kind of like a filter allowing you to get the information that you need, because let's think about it. Our brain is a supercomputer, right? Like it's processing at warp speed, information's coming in. Without it, we could overload. Well, this stops us from overloading and helps us to support what we're most focused on and means the most to us. So what does that have to do with movies on New Year's or during the new year? Well, let's think about it. In your mind, you have these thoughts, images, things that you're focused on a daily basis. Basically, movies playing in your head. Sometimes we play movies from the past. Sometimes we play movies from the future, what we think is going to happen in the future. And more importantly, we should be playing the movie out what's happening right now in our lives. But what happens is what we focus on, we tend to gravitate towards. And that's what the RAS shows us. The RAS, that filter, the reticular activating system, what that does when it filters these things out, it not only filters the things that are important to us, but it also looks to validate those things that are important to us as well, including our beliefs. So if you believe something very strongly and you're focused on that belief, let's just say you believe you're an unlucky person. I'm unlucky. Every time you have something experience in your life or a lot of experiences, you think this is going to go bad. This is going to go bad. Well, after a while, your brain starts to gravitate towards you to that outcome because that's what you're focused on. So you heard the expressions, what you focus on expands, where energy goes, where focus goes, energy flows and all that. So in closing, what I want to do is I want to give you some scientific evidence to back this up, because some of you out there are kind of like, yeah, this is motivational mumbo jumbo, what you focus on, Well, it's why incantations are so powerful. It's why repetition is so powerful. It's like being positive and focused on a feeling, being focused on something is so powerful. I'm going to tell you why. So in the reticular activating system, there's neuroscientists and scientific bodies all over the world that study this right now. But one person in particular, Dr. James Dady, who was a neurosurgeon and author of books on the subject, he gave a scientific explanation of the RAS. And basically, this proves the point of when you have a certain focus and a certain belief and intention, the RAS, after a while, when it's filtering, tends to look for information that validates that belief. He says the RAS sets a focus meaningful to you. Once you set a focus meaningful to you, your brain's salience network starts to prioritizing emotionally relevant information, helping you notice patterns and possibilities that support that focus. In addition, there's a couple of other scientific bodies out there that I've picked out. There's a PhD at the neuroscientist at the University of California, San Diego, that has studied the brain's electrical responses and notices change when we focus on relevant versus irrelevant stimuli, revealing neuromarkers of attention. And then Robert Desmond, hopefully I said that right, PhD, director of MIT's McGovern Institute, he's expert systems, neuroscience of attention and perception, and how the RAS attention modulates activity in the cortical circuits and affects our perception and behavior. So all this is a fancy way of saying what you focus on really does expand. What you believe really does, life becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy at times. So if you're playing a movie in your head and you're playing over and over something in the past where you think someone's belittled you were disrespected or weren't treated right. You keep playing that movie in your head, you're going to relive that. You're going to experience that in your future. If, on the other hand, you start replaying in your head good times with friends, you start replaying positive things that have happened to you in your life, if you must replay things from the past, that's the way to go, because you're more likely to experience more of those in your future. I'm looking at this in a very simplistic way. The reticular activating system, there's so much more to it that deals with dopamine, serotonin, how it helps in that process when you are focused, how it can increase those those aspects to make you feel better, and affects motivation, etc. But bottom line is, if you want to have a happier 2026, I'm going to ask you one question. What movies are you choosing? What are the movies in your head that you're going to be playing? You're going to be playing the positive movies? You're going to be playing the affirming movies? Are you going to be repeating to yourself the strong messages? Or is your self-fulfilling prophecy going to be, I've always been unlucky, so I'm going to continue to be unlucky? And I will tell you this, in my life, I don't have all the answers. I'm human, good, bad. We all make decisions that we want to go back and correct. But I will say this, in my recent life, in the last several months, I've always felt myself a little bit of a lucky person, but even luckier now, and I feel even more fortunate now, because the more I focus on this, the more good things are happening. And I think and believe strongly that the same can happen for you. Happy New Year, everybody. Have a safe, happy, and wonderful 2026. This is Cliff Gehring. Thanks for watching Cliff Notes. We'll see you next time.